Welcome. So this is the video referred to in the summary notes as benefits of trade in the market for one good. And by now, hopefully, you've taken a look at the Khan Academy materials on demand and supply diagrams and market equilibrium, or you remember your principles of microeconomics very well. So in that case, this will all look very familiar. So what we have here is two demand and supply diagrams for two different countries, Spain and the United Kingdom, and this is the market for oranges. So I've labeled my axes carefully. I'm using US dollars for the price, but that's okay. And then we have quantity. We have to specify a unit of measurement. So we've got boxes of oranges, and of course demand and supply always has a time dimension. So we're saying that we're looking at boxes of oranges produced and consumed in the course of a week. And as you can see, and if you know much about Spain, oranges are rather cheap in Spain because whilst people like oranges, it's nice and sunny, they grow easily, and so we have a low price equilibrium in what we're calling autarky, which is the absence of trade. So the autarky point is, let's see if I can show you. So this is the autarky equilibrium, what used to be simply referred to as equilibrium in principles of microeconomics. And then we go to the United Kingdom, which is the place that I'm from, and if you know much about it, you know it's rather cold. You can grow oranges in the United Kingdom. Henry VIII actually used to grow oranges in a special greenhouse called an orangery, using lots of fires to keep the trees warm. So as you can imagine, that was rather expensive. And so in general, you would expect a high price autarky equilibrium price of oranges in the United Kingdom. So this is what's called autarky, meaning isolation, so they haven't met each other yet. And let's suppose that Spain and the United Kingdom suddenly meet each other and decide to start trading, and in doing so, oranges will flow from Spain to England, and as all good economists know, if you have an increase in a market for something, an increase or a new demand for something, in this case it's an export market, that will tend to put upward pressure on the price of oranges in Spain. So the price is going to start rising in Spain. Let's show that. Oh, it won't work because I've got my little ruler in. Okay. I'm just getting used to this tool. So we're expecting upward pressure on prices of oranges in Spain. And then, of course, once the Spanish oranges appear on the UK market, we would expect downward pressure on prices in the United Kingdom. So that's I don't think that's controversial. Remember also that in these very simple models, we assume that this is a homogeneous good, which means that it doesn't matter where your oranges come from, they're all going to taste the same. Of course, that's unrealistic in this case. And secondly, to make the model simpler, we also assume zero transportation costs. And the implications of that, the law of one price, says that after all trades that are profitable have taken place, we would expect that the price of oranges will have equalized in the two countries. So we've got rising orange prices in Spain, falling orange prices in the UK. That process of trade, expanding trade, will continue until the point where the prices have been brought into equality, and we will now have a world price. Maybe I'll get a nice new color for the world price. Ooh, what could we have? How about orange? Okay, so this is going to be the world price. The two markets are side by side. I've drawn them so that they have the same units of measurement on the axis, the same scale. So you can see that my two prices are the same. We're going to call this the world price of oranges with zero transportation costs, assuming that this is a homogeneous good. So let's call that WP, world price, and the same thing in the United Kingdom diagram. And then the next thing to notice is that with a trading partner, we no longer have a situation where demand has to equal supply in equilibrium. In fact, we've achieved an equilibrium where there's actually a discrepancy between demand and supply in the two countries. So for the Spanish, you can see that at this higher price, domestic industry wishes to produce a lot more oranges, which we could check off from this axis, and then you can see the disgruntled Spanish consumers have cut back on their orange consumption, and this horizontal distance between supply and demand, so that's S minus D in Spain. This is the boxes of oranges exported from Spain every week. And I was just sketching these, so I'm hoping these look fairly reasonable, but obviously since there's only two countries, we kind of hope that the imports looks approximately the same. It doesn't look too bad. We're going to do this using algebra in the next video, and then you'll be able to get the perfect answer. So in the United Kingdom, the price of oranges has fallen down to this new world price, and we have obviously delighted consumers are buying more oranges, and then we have the probably slightly annoyed British Orange Growing Association, which has seen its production fall in the face of competition from the more efficient Spanish industry. So this horizontal distance between the demand curve and the supply curve, so imports are equal to demand minus supply at the world price. And what I was hoping to do, in addition to have the price obviously be the same because they're trading at the same price, so we've got that. You can see that this is the same price. And we're also hoping that this distance, this is just a sketch, is approximately the same as this distance, because we've only got two countries, so obviously that which is exported must be imported. But once we throw in a little bit of math, we'll be able to get the exact answer. But this is just the essentially the very simple basis for trade. Why not sell things in countries where the price is high? And then presumably there are other markets that the British are better at dealing with, perhaps the wool market, because the sheep need grass and it's nice and green and rains a lot, and so we could maybe export wool to the Spanish in exchange for their oranges. But this is just one market, so we don't show that second market. But that's one of the sort of fundamental diagrams in international economics, showing how the opening of foreign markets provides opportunities for export industries. You can also notice here too, it provides competition. So import competing industries are not always that thrilled. The next video, actually, we look at the welfare effects. So make sure that you've brushed up on your consumer and producer surplus using that video from Khan Academy that I linked to in week 1. And once you think you're pretty good about knowing about producer and consumer surplus, then watch the next video and we will actually quantify the welfare effects. Oh, actually, it's the video after that. Oh well. You got one more video. You have to do this algebraically first, and then we'll calculate the consumer and producer surpluses. All right.